Hello everyone, this is Tina with Tia's Treasures, and today I have for you the quick unboxing of Hero Arts May 2022 card kit and some cards. I don't know how many cards yet, but I've been averaging 3 to 5, so we'll see. We'll see. Get this open. This is the box it comes in. Creativity in a box. Isn't that cute? And let's see. We have our card. And okay, I have one add-on, which is, I might as well show you first, which is the cloud stencil. I thought this might be fun for doing some different layered clouds. So this is the only add-on I got. Gotta thank you for your order. And this is the premium kit. So let's see, this is the card that comes with it. This kit comes with, oh, come on, let's pull this out. Everything always comes in this fun little mesh bag now that holds your kit, and it can fit a half a piece of 8 by 12 cardstock. So what's that, 5 by 8. Okay, which piece is the premium? Okay, this is premium. This is what comes in the regular kit. We get some clear Hero Arts embossing powder. We get 3 ink cubes of Hero Use embossing powder. We get a stencil. That's a real pretty flower stencil. Put that there. We get glitter cardstock. Look at that. 3 of the pink and 3 of the blue. That's pretty. That ain't coming off in your hand. Then we get the stamps. Let's see, do I need something to put behind this, or can you see it pretty well? We get a layering bicycle, actually 2 layering bicycles with little balloons and flags and a little picket fence, grass, a little doggy, looks like a little corgi actually, some clouds, little kitty, flowers, hearts, and sentiments. And then we get die frame cuts that will cut out all of the little all of our images. Won't cut out the sentiments this month, but that's okay. Keep calm, pedal on, hello, may your year ahead bring many adventures, thank you, happy birthday, enjoy the ride. Yeah, so that's just a few of the sentiments we get. And in the premium kit, we get some holographic cardstock. I can see that already. We get, one is like, I don't know if you can see, one looks like broken glass almost, and one is just plain. We'll put those upside down. We get rub-ons, some fun bicycle rub-ons. Whole pack of those that has, doesn't say how many are in here, but I know it's more than one sheet. And we get some more of the little dies. This is a layering die if you want to use it that way, or you can use each individual piece by itself. Got a little girl on a hill with a picket fence, little doggy with a picket fence and a mailbox, and a tree with a swing and a park bench and the grass. So these will be kind of fun to use. So let me think about this and we'll make some cards. To start with, I'm taking the add-on stencil that I bought, the layering cloud stencil, and I'm using some stormy skies, some broken china, and some salty ocean. Those are going to be my 3 colors. And I'm making a couple backgrounds with this, but I'm only going to show me inking up the one. You don't need to see me do it twice, same thing. So anyway, to start with, we take the Stormy Sky, which is an underappreciated color, I think. It's a nice gray blue. Love it. Anyhow, that's going to be the first color. And because of the way the stencil is, I needed to mask off part of it with just some post-it notes. Now, the first stencil is like the full size stencil, and layers 2 and 3 are just half a stencil. So because I know how I like to go over the lines sometimes, I went ahead and I just masked off the bottom portion, or stencil, you know, number 3 as it worked out to be. And then I go ahead and I mask it off again once I move it. And this cloud stencil just is really, really fun, and it, you know, it turns out really nice, I think. Now I am coloring it. I keep kind of tripping over my words. I think I'm in too much of a hurry. Anyway, it is on a 8.5, a half of a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So what's that, 11 by 5.5? Something along those lines. I don't even know. But it's half a piece of cardstock, and I believe this is Nina Solar White I'm using. Nice smooth cardstock for stenciling. And of course my dog's barking in the background. He does that every time I come in here to do a voiceover. He can be quiet all day, but he's like, Mom, you're doing a voiceover. I'm going to start barking. So here I'm taking the flower stencil, and I wasn't sure if this was going to work or not, but I decided I was going to use some gold Lunar paste over it. This is Simon Hurley Slippery When Wet Lunar paste. And I wasn't sure if it would stick to the glitter, but it does beautifully. And I thought, you know, what's the worst that can happen? I thought about even using maybe some white texture paste and coloring it a different color, but I remembered I had this, so I thought I'd give it a try, and we could have like a metallic shine over our glitter, and it turns out really well. So I'm just smoothing my paste over the top, and I let it dry overnight. It probably didn't need to dry that long, but I mean, I wasn't going to use heat on it because I think it might have bubbled up. So I figured I would do this last thing at night and make sure it had plenty of drying time. Now I like to always use some press and seal over my paste to make sure they don't dry out, because who knows, you know, I do not use them as much as I should. They're kind of out of sight, and in my case it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And after I got this all, you know, all done, I made sure to wash off my stencil and everything really quickly. So that just turned out beautifully. Now I didn't want to hide all that glitter, and I was originally going to cut out that small happy birthday stamp, but I decided I just needed something bigger. So I brought in a die from Simon Says Stamps. I had a happy birthday die in my stash, and so I'm bringing in some Dollhouse Pink. I think it's Dollhouse Pink, and I'm cutting that out, and I'm going to cut that out along with a couple layers of white cardstock so I can layer it up. Like I said, this is just, it's too pretty to, you know, do much else with. I want to showcase the gold Lunar paste and the pink glitter cardstock. So I'm using the pink sentiment to kind of pull out the pink glitter cardstock. And I've just got it stacked up in 3, and I am just going to glue this down flat. I thought about popping it up, but it's seems it might be a little flimsy because I didn't put this on really heavy cardstock, and I want to make sure that it doesn't end up buckling or bowing or cracking. So I just went ahead and glued it to my 130-pound base, my card base, and that's going to give it plenty of structure. And now I'm just going to glue down the happy birthday. Now there's a little flaw in this paste. You can see there's like a line going across. And so I just figured I would glue down the happy and cover it up. The line is just where I pulled up my stencil buddy. I didn't spread down the paste as smooth as it could have been in that spot. So I'm just going to cover it with the nice happy, and I'm going to put the birthday underneath that. And just look at that shine. That is just so much fun. And I thought about cutting this card base down, or the card front down, but I'm like, no, it's just, I was just like, could look at this all day. It's like, put it one way, then the next way, and just look at the shine, and look at the glitter, and look at the shine, and look at the glitter. And I'm just going to put my little tittles right there. Those aren't worth stacking, ahead of time. They're easiest to do it right on the card. But I'm sure if you're watching me, you watch other card videos, and you've heard that before. I'm not doing anything groundbreaking here. I'm just making some really cool cards. Look at that. Shine glitter, shine glitter. I love it. So that was card number 1. Now card number 2, we're going back to the stencil, and I'm going to cut that down. Now originally I cut it down to 5.5 by 4.25, but like I said, I have 2 of these, so one of them I cut down a little more. I think this one I just cut down to 4.25 by 5.5, standard A2 card. And I am going to go ahead and I am going to stamp out our little bicycle here and some grass. So I'm going to start with the grass. And I decided to take the pigment ink that came in the kit, and I don't have a green, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix the yellow and the blue. Not at the same time, of course, because I could mess up some stuff pretty bad, my ink pads. But I'm going to start with the yellow, and the reason I'm starting with the yellow is because that is the lighter one, and I don't want to risk having, any ink on my stamp when I go to use the yellow. So start with that one first. And 1 stamp was plenty with that. It turned out really good. Now this is a pigment ink, so it stays wet for a while, which I should have kind of remembered because I did smear it a little bit later, but because I'm die cutting this out, it doesn't end up mattering in the ends. Now you're going to see magic here. I think I only show me stamping it once, but I do end up stamping it twice because I want to get full coverage over that yellow grass. We don't want yellow grass peeking through. But it just makes a lovely shade of green. I had no idea going into this what color green it was going to make, but I really like the color. It's nice fun grass, if you could call grass fun. I guess you could call some grass fun, but not necessarily this type of grass. It depends. So I'm going to now stamp out a bicycle. And it's a layering bike. So originally I pulled it out and I was going to stamp it, and then I thought if I stamp a layering bike and I don't layer it correctly, I'm going to go over the lines and I'm going to have trouble. It's going to just be a mess. So I went ahead and I die cut it first, and I'm going to stamp it secondly. And I end up bringing in some Hero Intense Black ink for the wheels and the seat. I think gray might have looked better. But I was going to try to use as many Hero Arts inks as I could. And I don't have a gray one. But I could have used anything. I mean, I bring in enough other stuff from my stash, so I could have brought in a gray ink from my stash. But here I'm just stamping that, and it's still, I didn't get it perfect. It was a little bit over my die cut line, just a bit. So I decided that I was going to just carry on and see what happened and see if it, how bad it was. And as it turns out, I didn't like it, and I restamped it, but I just figured you only really needed to see me stamp it once, so I don't show me redoing it because the process is pretty much the same. I die cut out a place on my panel there, and then I lined it up and stamped it, and I got it a lot better the second time, as you could probably see there. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in the little kitty cat. I'm going to bring in a little flag, and I'm also going to stamp the greeting all at once on this card panel. Now the flag I do end up stamping in the blue. The cat I use some Versamark black ink on because I wanted him to be nice and dark. And he is darker than the intense black, but I used Let the Good Times Roll for my sentiment on there, and I used a little bitty banner die to cut out the sentiment. So we have a little flag there. And now I am just gluing down everything on my card. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue down the grass, and I cut this card base down to 5.5 by 4. Because you can see I have to cut off the little bit of that excess overhang. And I'm going to go ahead and use some pink glitter cardstock on this as well in the background, just to frame up the card panel. I figured the bicycle's pink, so we'll match it to the glitter cardstock. Now you might see there's a couple spots missing in the center of my pink cardstock, and that is for a later card. I figured I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of the middle of a cardstock. Why waste an entire piece? I wasn't too worried about all that excess paper, though, glitter paper, because I have so many pieces of glitter cardstock in my stash that I was not worried about wasting an entire sheet behind a card panel. Now I'm just going to put this off to the side on the top. I'm going to butt it right up there. And we're going to put this card panel right in the center of that glitter cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue that to an A2 card base. So I hope everybody's doing good. We're just now finally getting around to putting in our garden, and we decided that we wanted to put in some fencing around the garden that was, more something permanent instead of like chicken wire and that type of stuff. And so we went ahead and we bought these 48-inch sections of garden fencing, and we were putting it in, and it came with a gate you could buy, and so we bought the gate. And when we went to put in the gate, I've got a square garden, and we went to put in the gate, the garden panels are 48 inches, the garden gate is 36 inches, and they do not have any panels that you can buy that are smaller size to make up the difference, and they don't have a 48-inch gate. So I'm like, what did they think people were going to do? So I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got to tell you what's going on here. So I went ahead and I took a Spellbinders hot foil plate called Life is a Beautiful Ride, and I thought that would work really nice with the bicycles in this kit. Now, a couple years ago, I was watching somebody do a Spellbinders kit with bicycles, and they used this hot foil plate on a bicycle collage, and I just thought that was so neat that I'd never forgot it. So when we had bicycles in this month's kit, I thought I would take out this die, and I used some blue hot foil, and I just did an angle foiled Life is a Beautiful Ride, and then of course I used the rub-on bicycle there, and the card panel, I just decided I loved it just simple like that. And so after gluing it onto the blue glitter cardstock, I decided that I like it simple like that. You could add sequins up there, to put more if you don't like the white space, but I just like it that way. So for this card, it was this card number 4? I'm not even sure. for this card here, I cut out the different dies, the shadow die, or the shadow dies, layering dies. I cut them out of two different yellows. Now, if I would have used the same yellow for all three dies, I don't think it would have been as noticeable as an outline. And I wanted you to be able to see each layer. And so I've got like the swing, or the swing layer on the tree, and the little dog, and then the girl on the bicycle. Now I didn't want it jumping in your face noticeable, or I could have used different color card stocks, totally, like, a blue and a green and whatever. I mean, you can do that. You do what, there's no wrong answer here. But I just thought by having two different yellows, it would make it just a little bit noticeable. And I wanted you to be able to see it. Now this is kind of like I'm imagining a bright summer day where everything's really bright and washing out the colors. And so that's what was on my mind. I thought about maybe using some white ink to put some clouds in the sky, but there's not a whole lot of room up there, and I still need to put a sentiment. So I went ahead and I grabbed the sentiment. I'm not sure which one off the top of my head. I'll have to see when I pull it out. Like an idiot, I put my cards away, and I usually have them in front of me when I'm doing the voiceover so I can refer to them. But not today. This time I was like, I'm going to clean up my card room after I'm done creating. And it's like, duh, I put away everything I needed to do my voiceover, so that wasn't real smart of me. But I'm using this blue ink here because I figured, why not? It is a pigment ink though, so I am going to heat emboss it and enjoy the ride. That's what it is. Now I'm using some Simon Says clear powder. We did get clear embossing powder in our kit, but I figured, why open the envelope of clear embossing powder when I have an open jar? So I'm saving it. And now I'm just going to heat emboss this really quick. And it just turned out really nice. Why not? And now I'm popping up some foam tape on the back of this. It seems like when I watch other creators, they put foam tape down and it's just like boom, boom, boom. They're the right length and they cut it and don't have problems. I'm either cutting mine too long or too short, and it's sticking to my scissors, and just all sorts of problems. All sorts. So if you have any suggestions on what to do about my too short of gate, let me know. I told my husband, I said we could maybe get another gate and jerry rig it somehow. We'd have to like cut it. I don't know. It would still be 18 inches instead of the 12 that we need. We only need a 12-inch panel. I don't know what we're going to do with it. We'll figure something out. It's so goofy. So I decided this needed a little bit of something. And I brought in some blue sequins from my stash. They're kind of like a clear iridescent blue. And I don't want a lot all over this card, but I thought maybe 3 little sequins would be fun. Just something to fill out that dead space. Now, on the previous card, I thought the dead space was really nice. It was a simple, clean, straight card. This one, the dead space needed something. And don't ask me to explain how I know. It's just one of those things, you know when you see it. And this gives it just a little extra shine. And I just think this turned out really well. And so now onto this kit. The add-ons for the May kit come with a kite. And I thought about getting it, but then I remembered I had this kite in my stash. Now this kite, if you notice, all 4 of those pieces are different sizes, which made it a really pain in the butt to put them together because I kept, forgetting and not putting them in the right spot, and then they weren't lining up properly, and I finally got it to work. But anyhow, like I said, the add-on does come with a kite, and I figured why not use the pink and mane kite that I already had. And so that's why I'm using it. It's kind of like, why spend money if I don't have to? Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp out May your year ahead bring many adventures. And I'm going to heat emboss that. Now, I remembered to use my embossing, my powder tool for once. You notice I'm tripping up a lot of words. But yes, I remembered my embossing tool, which it's like 50-50 on whether I remember it or not. Last thing I embossed, last card, I did not remember it, but this is clear embossing powder, so it's not as important as, like, say, using a white or a black embossing powder. That would be really important. You're not going to see the clear grains, though, even if I don't use the embossing tool. But I am using the VersaFine black ink on this, and because it's a pigment ink and it takes longer to dry, I figured I'd emboss it. And so it doesn't take long to emboss, and it gives it a nice little shine that you're not going to get if you just stamp the sentiment straight on the card. And now I'm just going to glue this down, and I'm going to glue it down flat. I only popped up one card today, and I'm gluing it on this glitter background. So almost every one of my cards has a glitter background, except for the one that is all glitter, and that we put the embossing paste, the gold paste all over. Because I don't know why I cannot talk today. I mean, I'm tempted to redo this entire voiceover, but then who knows how long it would take me to get this video out. If you like these cards, please give me a thumbs up. Throw a bone my way, please. I could use it. Maybe I'll even learn to, like, talk. You know, maybe I'll take some lessons to learn to articulate a little bit better. I think sometimes I'm so busy trying to think of what I'm going to say next that I'm not paying attention to what's actually coming out of my mouth at the moment, which can be a really bad thing, especially if you're trying to do a YouTube video with a voiceover. But this card, I think, turned out really great. I would highly recommend having a Kite Die in your stash if you don't already. And you know, you could make something like this with just any sort of cloud stencil, or just do your own clouds, or this kit comes with some cloud stamps. There's all sorts of things you could do, and it's really not that hard to even cut out a kite shape. So, I mean, you could always do it that way too. And I don't know the last time I actually flew an honest-to-God kite. I think that would be a lot of fun. I've never been able to get one up in the air more than a few minutes. It always ends up in a tree. You know, it comes spiraling down. Then it always comes spiraling down into a tree. You could be in a park with no trees but one, and it's going to find that one tree. Anyhow, these are my 5 cards. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if you have a favorite. Let me know what you think of this glittery, sparkly card that you just saw, card number 1. I really enjoyed doing all these cards. I normally don't use that much glitter paper, but I figured I have so much in my stash. It came with this kit. Why not use it? You know, it's, I have to start going through some of this stuff in my stash, or I'm going to be overrun. There's not going to be any more house. It's going to be like all crafts. My husband will open the refrigerator and, you know, crafts will fall out. So anyhow, please subscribe if you liked me. And bye-bye for now, everyone.